Greetings, everyone. I'm going to start us off with a little 222 hertz. Welcome, everyone, to Sonic Sunday number 22. And it became evident to me that a Sonic Sunday wanted to happen today as a consequence of a number of things that have transpired since I saw you last. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about my ears. Some of you know that I've been having some challenges there. I'm going to talk a little bit about the process that I've been through and what I've learned. And truly, any health issue that we encounter is an opportunity for deeper healing. And that's always been my experience. And I'm one of those people that doesn't like to live with pain or discomfort. So whenever that comes along, and it does, I'm certainly not immune to having challenges. And but I do tend to tackle them and really try to solve them. And that's what I've been working on with my ears. But it unveiled something very profound for me and very, very healing and very surprising, actually. And so I want to talk about that. And it's related to ancestral issues, which we all suffer from. And then we're going to do a tuning that will support both our ears and any ancestral miasms that we might be carrying. So, what is an ancestral miasm? Well, vibrationally, it's when I find a pattern in someone that clearly goes back many generations. And we're more informed by ancestral patterns than we realize. In fact, some of you may have behavior that comes out of you maybe when you're triggered or upset that leads you to do or say things that you might be ashamed of. And that is a good indication that that is a blind emotion, that that is an ancestral miasm, that that is a pattern in your inner symphony that is coming to the fore, that's informing you more than you realize. So think about that for a little bit. Like, what are some of the things that you do or say or engage in that you're really frustrated by, that you've been working on to some degree or another, but can't seem to uproot? I had the very good fortune of uprooting something that I have been trying to uproot for decades last week. And it has been an incredibly liberating experience. So let me just talk about that a little bit. So for those of you who don't know, I've started over the last few months suffering from swollen ear canals, particularly the one on the left. And this actually started back in December, I think, that I was underneath an air conditioner, sleeping underneath an air conditioner for 5 days, and my ear canal swelled up and my hearing diminished by like 50%. And it was really pretty alarming. But then it resolved itself. And then I had an experience where I wore a Bluetooth lapel mic for 5 hours while filming some videos. And when I got home from that and went into the enclosed space of the bathroom, I discovered that there was a very alarming buzzing and ringing in my left ear. And I did sit down and record a video of exploring it with my tuning forks that some of you might have seen. And I knocked it back. I would say like 85%, but then there was still this sort of persistent sort of buzz ring kind of thing. And then the noise in my apartment, for whatever reason, became extremely acute. I live under the flight path of the airport, and there are F-35 jets stationed here in Burlington, and they are ridiculously, ridiculously loud. And I have a fellow who lives up above me who plays video games very loud. They're building a new apartment building in the lot next door, a hotel and a parking garage, and they were doing pile driving. And then I live on a river, which has been high all year. It's been sort of roaring constantly. And so the combination of all of this sort of auditory assault on top of the damage that was done by that Bluetooth made both of my ears start to swell up rather acutely. So much so that I actually went to the emergency room because I don't have a primary care physician and got diagnosed, got my ears looked at, and sure enough, they are swollen. So then I left Vermont. I was gone for a month. I went to Sovereignty Ranch for Confluence, which was an amazing event. Tuned during the eclipse, and the world felt very different afterwards. And then we went into that full moon. And, I'm not necessarily generally a person who gets affected by the moon, but that last full moon we just had really felt like it was pulling stuff up to the surface in me. And emotions and discomfort and such strong need to solve the problem. And I actually shared on Instagram that I was having this problem and asked people if they had any advice. And quite a number of folks recommended the work of Dr. Bradley Nelson. And he's the creator of the emotion code and the body code. So maybe some of you are familiar with his work. Some of you might even be practitioners of his work. And it just so happens that Dr. Nelson and I have the same editor in common at Macmillan. And so I reached out to my editor and I asked him if he could connect us. I figured I'd just go right to the source. And sure enough, he did. And he also sent me both of Dr. Nelson's books, which was wonderful. So Brad was very kind enough to see me for a 15-minute consult for free this past week. And it was very, very profound. So I think a big part of being able to heal a particular thing is the importance of being able to identify a particular thing, right? And the day before I went, that I saw Brad Nelson, I got an acupuncture treatment. And I have this kind of habit of energy sort of getting stuck up here and not going to ground, even with all the work I've done, right? Just so much work, but still tend to get trapped in these same energetic patterns of, not optimization. And as I was driving home, I was thinking, I am trapped in an ancestral miasm. This feeling, this thing that's going on, this tension, because all my life I've felt like kind of a congestion in this part of my body. Like my heart center was like here instead of here. And no amount of work has been able to really get in there and shift it. So he does this very interesting approach with little graphs and tables about whether things are physical, mental, emotional, ancestral. He does muscle testing to determine what's what. And he was able to determine that I was suffering from this pattern of tension, because it's worse in my left ear, right? Because of this pattern of tension all through my shoulder and around my heart. And he figured out that it went back not just 2 generations, right? But my mom, I'm thinking it's my mom and my grandmother, but 22 generations on my mother's side. 22 generations, right? And I wonder how many of us are carrying around patterns like this that has been informing our lineage, not just for 1 or 2 or 3 generations, but like dozens almost, right? Like, no wonder I've been tugging at that root like my whole life. I haven't dislodged it. This is freaking deep, really deep. So he does this really cool thing where he uses himself as a surrogate, and then he has a magnet that's kind of like I don't know, the size of an index card. He just sort of wipes it over the governing meridian in the center of his head. He's a very polished bald head. Like if I were to do that, I'd be always messing up my hair. He has just the right kind of head to do that kind of work. And at 15 minutes, okay, don't figure it out. Wipe my head, off you go. So I walked out of the building and was walking around outside, and I felt like all of this tension just let go out of my shoulder, down my arm, like everything just relaxed and released. I was like, is it really that easy? Like, just whoop, whoop, it's gone. But, I was really primed for this. It was really good timing. It really was right up at the surface and ready to move. And then as I was reflecting on it as the day went on, I realized like I identified an emotion that I've never identified in my field or anyone else's, right? 28 years, sort of archaeological digging around at my psyche and other people's and really identifying emotions that get stuck. And I realized that the feeling, okay, ready for this, was longing. That this whole miasmic pattern was one not of living, not of being in the center of the heart, but of longing for things to be different, longing for people, longing for situations, longing for things, like longing. This is something that I felt my whole life. And maybe some of you can relate to that. Right? How many of us long for life to be different than it is? How many of us long for ourselves, our bodies, our experiences to be different than they are? How many of us surrender deep appreciation of this moment, gratitude for all that we have and all that we are and all that we've done? And the ability to simply rest in that without anything needing to be different than it already is, right? Yeah. Just looking at some of these, I long so hard. I longed for life to be different for at least 50 years, if not more. But I bet if you look back, like you had so much. You know what I mean? Like we're all, so many of us, if you're here and you're able to watch me and you've got internet and you've got a roof over your head and you've got your basic needs met, like we may come to a time in our life where we don't have those things. And then we'll be longing for the past, where we were longing in the past for a different future. Longing takes us out of living. I can't believe it's taken me so long to uncover this longing. And since it released, I mean, and it really, truly, like fully and completely released, I've had this extraordinary settling into now and realizing how driven we all are by the sort of carrot and the stick, like, oh, I got to be more and I got to do more and I got to get more and I got to, that kind of defines our culture. And then when we're always in that, there's some part of us that's over here and in front of ourselves. That's missing out on the deliciousness, on the potential bliss, really, of just settling into the magic, the mystery, the amazement, all the things we have to be grateful for. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad that so many of you can relate to that. And for me, it's a huge uncovering of ancestral patterning, cultural patterning, personal patterning, the drive that even keeps us as consumers, right? You're consuming this healing modality, or you're consuming this, and you're longing and consuming and longing and consuming. You're all just not settled in or snugged in to just right now. Yeah. All right. So now that we've talked about that, and so many of you can relate, I guess I'll just go right into a tuning for it. Yeah, let's just do that. What if we're living in really challenging situations? Even in a challenging situation, you still probably have use of your eyes, your ears, your lungs, your hands, your feet, right? And here's the thing, guys, is that, and I've talked about this a lot, all right? So this isn't anything new, but maybe in this context, it'll land differently. Our outer experience is an absolute reflection of our inner experience, of our inner arrangement, of the vibrational patterns and rhythms that are informing and creating the electrical being that you are. In order to change things out there, you have to first change them in here. If you want your outer world to become more coherent, you have to learn to become more coherent yourself. And it's hard. It's a process, right? That's why I talk about us as the karmic cleanup crew. It's not easy. Nobody says it's easy. It's not easy. I mean, I just 22 generations. We're working for decades with all my might, truly. Like, so there's a lot here that we're working on. And don't think it's going to be easy or simple, right? But it's definitely doable. The tools are here between tuning and, there's so many tools available to us. A lot of them are free or in books, right? Pretty sure everything about the emotion code is in the book so that you can actually treat yourself. Find people who can treat you. Yeah. And the shortest, easiest route to coherence is actually gratitude. And longing is really, in a lot of ways, the opposite of gratitude because we're not feeling grateful for what we've got. We're just longing for it to be different. We're resenting or maybe even hating, right? Because actually, hate and longing kind of live in the same area. Hate settles on the heart and longing kind of bulges around it. If we weren't hating or disliking or resenting, we might not be longing. Right? So they kind of go hand in hand. So we want to shift that energy over to the center, which is where we experience gratitude. To just be grateful for every little thing. I mean, as I was experiencing this transition, I was just going into so much gratitude for the water in my body. For water. Right? You can go into a rapturous, deep reverie with your gratitude for water. And you're informing and changing the water in your body when you do that. Right? So the more that we are grateful, the more we focus on gratitude, the more we have to be grateful for, the more we start to create a coherent field. And the more we settle deeply into the moment, the more people respond to us differently. We all know what it's like when somebody's edgy and agenda-driven and fussy. And it's not really great to be around. And if somebody is sort of agendaless and deeply present and deeply listening, you have a very different experience around that kind of person. Like that's the kind of person animals come to. That's the kind of person butterflies land on, right? Like comes to you when you are settled into this moment deeply in gratitude. Yeah. Yeah, I've been frustrated with life, like frustrated with self, right? That's just a habit. It's a pattern. That is often miasmic. There's many, many different miasms we can have, right? So I want you to think about what your core pattern or what a core pattern of your own ancestral challenge that you've been struggling with. What did you see your mother or your father struggling with? What did you see your grandparents struggling with? What are people struggling with culturally? What is it that you engage in that you're ashamed of, right? Yeah, it's just kind of thinking about that. Okay, so we're going to jump into some tuning, and we're going to tune into wherever these patterns might be in your body and how they might be informing your health, right? So this pattern was informing a pattern of tension that went all the way up my left side and into my ear. Yes, I am in an environment that's noisy and I'm looking for other options. But we tend to get injuries where we already have some kind of weakness, or we already have some kind of pattern of tension. So whatever health issue you might be struggling with might be being informed by an ancestral miasm. Okay. All right. So take a moment to just close your eyes and tune into your body. Take a breath into the belly. Exhale down to the ground. Take a few of those breaths into the belly. Thinking about the story, feeling into whatever discomfort is there. And we're going to start with a 174, just listening to see what comes through. Okay, well, right away with that strike, something really telling came through. And that's kind of almost a hollow quality. Like the parts of yourself where your soul, the truth of who you are, your full electric potential isn't filled out in there. It's like lacking light. It's kind of hollowness or an emptiness or a feeling like something is missing, right? Not good enough. My needs aren't met. I'm a victim. I'm always taking care of everybody else. I don't receive enough love. Can't express myself. I'm always worried about the future. Kind of hollowness where your ability to like fill up the present moment with radiant presence is lacking. Again, kind of thinking about where are the places that are hollow and what would it feel like to expand into them. Give yourself permission to start to go there with your breath, maybe feeling the places where your breath doesn't go. Just noticing what comes up. You're getting a little nauseous. That happens sometimes. Making me burp. And this has got like a pulsing quality. And it makes me think of what I call orbiting my chair, which is when I need to sit down and hold myself to some kind of task, work, get something done. And I don't do it. I orbit my chair, go around in circles, but don't land in the that place of where, what is it called when you do without doing and everything gets done, right? That, I don't know why the word is evading me. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. Right? There's more of that. So just feel in. Where does that get you in your body? Where are you dishonoring you? Because you're kind of got something else in the way. Yeah, effortlessness. The zone, the way. Right, when the way knows the way, and when we settled in completely into now, we don't need to worry about where we're going because the way knows the way. We actually all are at liberty to settle into now, to settle fully into now with a grateful heart. And what's getting in the way are just miswiring. Energy that's used to going other places. Oh, this one's zippy. It's sped up. It's like that being really like, oh, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I'm thinking about this. Got my coffee and I'm running down the road. So out in front, being out in front of yourself, right? Who does that? Gets out in front of themselves. Yeah, nature never hurries, yet everything is accomplished, right? I don't know whether you put that there before that hurry tone came in at the same time, but that's what it is. We don't need to rush or hurry. There is no urgency, right? You don't need to go chasing that carrot. Even if you think you do, you probably don't. And you're not going to change it out there. You got to change it in here first. All right, I'm just going to be quiet for a few strikes, and I just want you to really notice where you're feeling it in your body, okay? You can drop it in the chat if you want. I really appreciate all of your willingness to hang out with me and get uncomfortable. Right? Make you cry and yawn and be in pain and be uncomfortable. And you hang tight with me through this. So I appreciate this. It's kind of a weird church we have here. We're all in it together. Yeah, lots of neck, throat, heavy heart, right? You got to feel it to heal it. And this is, in allowing ourselves to tune into where this discomfort is hiding in us, right? As we sit down together and go, okay, I'm just going to give myself time and space to feel this. I'll feel it to heal it. There's a lot in this of a kind of like kind of feeling. It's sort of like it's suffering, it's grief, it's a lot of like that kind of stuff here, right? That's been burned or etched into the song of our being, the song that's come down through all these generations. All right, now that I got y'all feeling all that discomfort, let's come in with a 144 and smash it up a bit. Gary's feet are screaming. All right, so we'll just let the 144 ring out some more of that discomfort too. Just feel them, right? We don't want to push any of this away. This is all discomfort that we want to listen to and feel and allow, uncover, be with. Don't even try to fix it, all right? Don't try to breathe through it. Just be in it and with it, and be compassionate for it. My eyes are leaking. These are things that we resist, that we judge, that we wish would go away, that we were like, oh God, why am I like that? And that is not the way to heal things. You don't push them away, right? What you push away comes back. What you resist persists. This is stuff that you have to go in and like hug your ancestors. You're like, I'm so sorry that you went through this. This is a moving into and embracing, a dissolving through pulling in instead of pushing out. Through forgiveness. And maybe you need to make some noise. I'm kind of going into something that would mean if I wasn't sitting here, I don't want to jump around and wiggle and make a lot of sounds. Stop, shout. You can do that. There's no cameras on you. All right, I'm just going to, again, be quiet. We'll let the 144 work, see what it wants to do. A lot of rigidity. Okay, so what's going on here is that there's really a tremendous amount of like rigidity and stiffness, and that's annoying me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 144 and the 174 together and see if we can get some of that to let go. Yeah. Just kind of go into melt. Like find the places where something's been resisting, or you've really been resisting, or it's been really deeply lodged. And just see. Yeah. That's it. Maybe you need to wiggle a bit, right? Don't be a corpse. Yeah. That's it. Yes. Good. All right, I'm going to come back to the 144. Okay, big breath into the belly. Exhale that down into the ground. There's a lot of fear coming up. So just let that arise. Feel where it might be in your body. Our ancestors had plenty to be afraid of. You might be downstream of Holocaust victims, or who knows what your ancestors have been through and what traumas they experienced. And But I don't think we're supposed to continue to be living this. Like, I really think that we're here right now because we're becoming free of these things. That this is our job, especially you guys that hang out with me, right? I was like, it's okay for us. It's okay for us to become more free. Like, and I was thinking about my 22 ancestors, all of these women were stuck in longing and not free to be in living, right? And I almost felt like through me, like stepping into this place of greater freedom, that their dreams are realized through me. Like somebody finally got there. Right? Because they're all alive in me. Our ancestors are all alive in us in some way or another. Their songs ringing in us. Yeah. Freedom is a responsibility. We have to do the work to maintain it. Yeah. It's not our fault, but it's our responsibility. Yeah, Glenn, that's a great way to put it. It's not our fault that we popped out in this time-space continuum downstream of a big snarled mess and that we got it in us. It's not our fault. But it is our responsibility to make use of available resources to clean things up. I think all of us like to clean things up. We like the feeling when something has gone from being messy to being in order. We like being agents of syntropy and change, knowing that everything that we do, everything that we heal in ourselves, that we heal in our own relationships, is informing the whole. It's an amazing thing. It's a great gift. Yeah. Yeah, thank you all, for being here and doing this. Everybody live, everybody who's watching the recording. This is cool that we can do this. All right, I'm going to come in with a 528 and let's just see what that does. Right, there's a beauty and a grace here that's wanting to arise from underneath the fear, the miasms, the stories. Right? We want to find the true you, the beauty that you are, and invite you to step in and fill that space with gratitude and appreciation for yourself, and who you are and what you're doing and what you bring to the world, no matter how small it is. Like, not longing for you to be better or different, but the who you are right now, that you are plenty. You are plenty. Right? And we can invite our ancestors to join in this circle. I give thanks for all those who came before you, help bring you here in this time and place. Wouldn't be here without them and what they've been through. And just feeling the spooling backwards in the generations 1, 2, 3. How deep does it go? If you've identified a miasm, ask yourself, how many generations does this go? See what drops in. Feel that energy unwinding in your body all the way back, spiraling through time to a place of greater self-realization, presencing, liberation. And then as that unspools and unwinds, does it open you up to more gifts? The voices of your ancestors, and the talents of your ancestors. Right, let this really go into any places where things are knotted or stuck or tight. Just allow to dissolve. Any place in your own being, feeling throat come up. Whatever you have where there's been a pattern of tension or tightness, just let that sound find its way in there. Yeah, that's it. Ha. Ha. And light, right? You might start feeling and sensing more light behind your eyes, behind your face. And relax the jaw, open the crown. Relax the neck, soften the throat. Soften the shoulders, shoulder joints. You still got their shoulders up around your ears. Let them drop. Soften the heart, the diaphragm. The gut, the psoas, the low back, the hip joints. Breath into the belly, into the pelvic floor. Exhale, just softening more down the legs. Soften the knee joints, the ankle joints, feet. Again, coming back to the crown, opening the crown more. And letting more light in through the crown, more light behind the eyes. And let this light come in almost like an eraser of a chalkboard. It's just really de-patterning. You feel some waves of it go down through, shaking out those miasms, shaking out those old patterns. And that light that's coming in is you. The fullness, the beauty of your magnificent, big, shiny soul. Having more room to enter into your body, enter into your mind, into your being. Stretch and move. Make any kind of sound you need to. If you've got a sonic slider or a weighted fork, you might want to use it on yourself. I'm just going to do a few more. Right, and feel all the water molecules in your body and how they're lighting up, kind of shaking off into neutral, happy little neutral bubbles with just the right amount of resistance on the outside, good tension, good softness on the inside. Good. Okay, we'll come back to the 222. And then just give yourself a moment to just be in this, right? To just feel yourself illuminated from the inside. Feel yourself, really allow yourself to think about something you're super grateful for. Really come into the center of the heart. Really feed into that, like grateful. What are you grateful for right now in this moment? And that might bring up some tears. Right? Might bring up some emotion. That's okay. I'm grateful for you guys being here with me. I'm grateful for each other. We have a tribe. We're not alone. There's some amazing people. Amazing people in the world. Not all terrible at all. Okay, just a few more of these. Right, let that heart grow. So I'm kind of feeling like this expansion of the heart, expanding out into all the previous generations, expanding into the people that you love and care about, the things you love and care about. Everything gets better with love. More love, please. That's it. Okay, big breath in the belly. Exhale down into the ground. Last one. Nice. All right, so just take a moment to check in. Notice how you feel. It's coming up. Maybe drop a note in the chat and let us know how you're doing. I never thought I would say this. I'm grateful for being feminine. I love that. So many of us have a wounded feminine, men and women alike. And so many of us were hoodwinked into feminism and an abandonment of our own femininity. It's nice to be soft and feminine. It's nice to have a good balance of both, right? Strong and soft on top. It could be both. Yeah. Ancient energy flowing. Yeah, I think that I really have been feeling that too. That sort of ancient, deeper energy that as I've cleared out the noise of this deep longing and come into center, I feel more of that ancient energy. Even when I'm singing, I noticed what a difference this made for my singing voice. It really took energy that was stuck here and brought it here, and it became a lot more playful and free. I know I've been longing for my voice to be free for so long, and now it feels so free. And I'm so grateful for that. And I feel like that I have more access to the voices of my ancestors because of it. Yeah, love from the ancestors. Yeah, my neck got longer too. That was how I felt when I released this. I'm like, oh, my neck is longer. It's like more free down in here. Yeah, peaceful, settled into your body. Nice. Yay. All right. Well, it's really fun to gather virtually, but it's more fun to gather in person. And I've got a few events coming up. I'd love for some of you to manifest the means to come and be with me. I put some of the links in the chat here. I'm going to be at Omega Institute teaching an introduction to forks and voice at the end of May. I'm going to be at Music and Sky, which is where all my favorite people are. It is the best tribe. Music and Sky is in California on solstice weekend. It's going to be a very special event. If you are craving tribe, find a way to join us there. And there's a link in there. We're going to be doing Sing the Body Electric at Kripalu. We've got the cathedral room. We've got this big room. We're going to raise the roof of this big room. Kripalu is a great place. It's not that expensive. It's in Western Mass. And going to make a lot of sound and do a lot of singing, toning, and breathing. I'd love to see you there. I got a virtual class coming up, actually. I think it starts at the end of May. It's called Amplify Your Light, and it's 3 weekly 2-hour virtual classes where we're going to do a lot of what we do here, but way more. And that's all, kind of taking what this is, the sort of bringing the light into your being and really amplifying it, really spreading it out, really opening up those pathways so that your illuminated, beautiful self can step into the moment more and more. And in that presencing, attract more and more of who you are. Yeah. So that's good. And I just did a YouTube, no, not a YouTube. I just did a Sonic Slider Masterclass, a live one, where we played around with lots of ways to use the Sonic Slider. So if you missed that and you want to play around with your Sonic Slider more, you can check that out as well. So massive amount of intense solar flares happening in the last 24 hours. Just lots of energy, right? Energizing the world. Right. And I also have, for those of you who are biofield tuners, I've got level 3 and level 4. I think there's still a few seats left in some of those this year. So that's also an option. Okay. Well, if you didn't hit a thumbs up yet, you can do that. If you're new and you haven't subscribed yet, you can do that. Don't forget that there's 21 other Sonic Sundays. Oh, and it was Sonic Sunday number 22, and this was 22 generations back. And actually, one of my tuners, Lori Rhodes, was doing a tune-up on me, and she started working on chromosome 22. So there was a lot of 22s going on, and kind of an alignment here. So All right, you all. Thank you so much for being here, being the beautiful beings that you are. I look forward to seeing some of you at these live events or virtual classes or my next Sonic Sunday, whenever that happens to happen. So everybody, stay tuned, be well, take care.